Our story begins in 1973, where a 16-year-old native New Yorker, Yerachmiel Begun, was studying at the Ner Israel Yeshiva in Toronto, Canada. That year, he composed his very first song, Ata Ehod, for the group Simcha Tone, marking the humble beginning of what would become a legendary musical journey. Quickly gaining recognition, Yerachmiel found his place in the Toronto Perchai Choir, writing 9 out of 12 tracks for their debut album. While not the choir's official director, he held an assistant conductor role, and the arrangements, crafted by the legendary Yerushalayim, helped bring his music to life. That same year, Yerachmiel also contributed 2 songs, Hashemuzi and Kol Baromo Al Tiro, to the Camp Steichemed album, Imeshkoha Yerushalayim. Building on that early success, in 1974 he composed 7 tracks for the Call Salonika 3 album, which featured star soloist David Buzaglo, the standout voice of the Toronto Boys Choir at the time. One song in particular, Yeshiva, was even featured in the 2024 One Voice Hall of Fame medley, performed by Yerachmiel alongside Eli Marcus. In 1976, the second Toronto Boys Choir album was released. Yerachmiel composed 6 out of its 12 tracks, alongside an unlikely composer, 9-year-old Baruch Wolf, a choir member at the time. He composed and sang Lev Tahor, singing of the spirit of Hashem within each of us, and of the purity of heart that we must attain. That same year marked a turning point for Yerachmiel because he moved from Toronto to Miami Beach in Florida. Given the success he found with the Toronto Choir, he formed his own group, the Miami Choir Boys, and quickly began performing with them and attracting attention. The following year, he released Victory Entebbe, an album inspired by the Entebbe operation that occurred just the year before. Featuring voices like Yitzhak Jarrett, Nicole Farizan, Zev Shurl, and Meyer Kabel, and again arranged by Yisrael, the album introduced a more mature and orchestrated style to Jewish boys choir music. It also marked the first recording appearance of future public figure and alumnus Shmuel Boteach. But this was only the first of many albums to come by this infamous group. In 1978, Miami Meets Toronto was released, which brought together his 2 beloved and renowned choirs, each with their own distinct style and accent. Side A of the CD featured the Miami Choir Boys, Miami through to Listen Nations, and Side B was sung by the Toronto Choir, Toronto through to Hava. Later that year, Yerachmiel wrote one final composition for the Toronto Boys Choir, which featured on the lesser-known Volume 3. This track was titled Baruch HaGever and sung by Mesad Shriki and Shmilu Birnbaum, the younger brother of Nusi Birnbaum, who was a prominent soloist on the second Toronto album. This song had originally been composed for Kol HaKavod in 1976. Although the track initially flew under the radar, it resurfaced in 1979 on the Miami Live album, this time powerfully delivered by a more seasoned Yitzhak Jarrett, one of the original Miami Choir Boys from the first Miami album. It wouldn't be until the second Miami experience in 1992 when Ari Goldwag would sing the version that resonated with listeners the most. This also rang true for the track Yeshiva, which again gained more significant attention when revamped and incorporated into that same concert. By 1980, Yerachmiel had returned to his hometown of Brooklyn, New York, where he once again founded a new iteration of the choir. Despite the move, the name Miami remained, an homage to the roots and the reputation already built in Florida. The following year, the album Judea was released, every song composed by Yerachmiel himself. This album features the original Hand of Hashem, sung by Gershon Veroba, who also lends his vocals to the majority of the other tracks. Veroba came back to sing this live in the first Miami experience in 1991,
the scuds fell in the sand,
and again for the third Miami experience in 1993,
the Hand of Hashem,
which featured a medley of songs from Judea. Hand of Hashem was later sang in 2010 and incorporated into the 2011 Melah Hashem Ilai concert video, which featured performances across a 3-year span. Outside of his work with the choirs, Yerachmiel also contributed compositions to numerous other Jewish artists and projects, including the 1981 album Memories by Mordecai Ben David. During the 5-year gap in new MBC albums following Miami Live, another famed alumnus had his Miami ride, Shlomi Dox, 1979, 1982. Dox was a member of all 3 main choirs of that time, MBC, Tislil Vazemer, and Amudai Sheish Boys Choir. In fact, he sang alongside Basada Dishmaya star soloist Jonathan Paley on the first Tzlil V'Zemer album, though unfortunately he did not get the chance to sing on any Miami albums, leaving 2 years before Basada Dishmaya would be released in 1984. By this point, the group had officially transitioned from the Miami Choir Boys to the name we all recognize today, the Miami Boys Choir. I hope you found this video informative, and please be sure to like and subscribe to my channel to stay up to date on all your Miami Boys Choir knowledge.